I think we saw one game today. LGD played Enchantress in jungle, was it? And no, it was RTK playing the Enchantress. It was a switch up. There was the first game. He actually played an off-lane Enchantress, and it worked out really well for them, despite not having the Darkseer. And it was like something that I feel like they are starting to switch up his hero pool. It might be a good thing, you know, because in the past he's always been playing the hero that is for team fight. He hasn't been playing a hero that scales really well. He's always either Darkseer, Tide, like Clockwork.
Yeah.
He had a proper game which didn't go so well just now. But I think overall, at least they're starting to adjust, which is always a good sign for the team.
We'll have to see what adjustments they're going to make. We actually do have a draft that is ready, so all these questions that we're putting out, we're going to have our answers very soon. So we'll hop into that one. It's going to be game number 1, OG versus LGD in the upper bracket here. And, you know, how much of this game is on ROTK to make sure he does perform, though? I mean, we already have recognized that his hero pool can be a bit more limited than others, and it looks like he will already be tested on it. OG are not going to try to entice them into some sort of counter Oracle play. They will be banning it out. It does leave out the Enchantress as the first grab, and they're going to be going for it again. So it will be an ROTK Enchantress again. We'll have to see.
I think for LGD, the role of RTK, despite what kind of hero he is, doesn't matter. I think the role for him is to determine the pace of the game for his team. He's going to have a large emphasis on that, and we've been talking about how important that is to have, you know, the ball rolling, have a crisp landing stage, and go for your targets the moment you can without a single second of delay. And I think he's going to play the key role there.
And do you think maybe it's the best?
LGD.
Yes.
Why would you think? What makes him better than like a Moo that we just saw do a hell of a performance there, or better than a CT?
All the other players are too old school, and the new school players just have some, I don't know, more pizzazz about them. Just they do flashier stuff. They push things a little bit more than the older players because they don't have that restraint. And I don't know.
Old Chicken? Do you think Old Chicken?
10 seconds remaining.
I think maybe he's way more mechanically skilled though.
Like Old Chicken seems like he's much more like the stable kind of.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't do like crazy stuff. He plays like Dragon Knight, all the very stable heroes.
I think it's good to have an impact player who takes the right amount of risks, you know?
Yeah, because for Old Chicken, his teammate, he already has CTY in his team, someone who is very risky. So you can't afford to have 2 core players that are like this. You have to have one guy who is much more calm and collected, and one guy who takes risks.
For example, he had a disgustingly good Lash at TI5, which was pretty much non-existent in the Chinese teams in the mid lane. I saw Super play it. Failed terribly. I saw Shiki play it. That pretty much lost in the grand finals. So, and he actually, I think, went beyond God like in like 10 minutes.
Wasn't it against EG?
I think it was against Secret. Yeah. And that was one of the things I'm like, wow, this guy's really good. I saw his Ember too. There was some of the plays that he makes is just really next level.
So basically, LGD had the similar opening in the earlier series. I talked about ROTK playing the Enchantress, but when they did this opening with Rubik, the Enchantress was actually played by DDC, because you picked the Rubik specifically to roam with the Enchantress in the early game.
And we already saw that the opener coming out from OG here as we watch the players get focused and ready. Something that they had in both of their games against Archon earlier, the Bat Rider here, and securing it, of course, with the Vengeful Spirit. So we didn't see them play much, if any, Bat Rider, I believe, at the Frankfurt Major. Is there something new about Bat Rider that they're finding that seems to work out nicely? I mean, they don't even know who they're going to be going up against, but they want to secure that lockdown for their team.
We see a lot of Bat Rider at MDL. We saw a lot of Bat. I remember at MDL.
He's back in top, like really high priority offlaner. The only problem is Venge is often picked a lot, as well as Oracle. But if you have Venge on your team and a lot of teams actually don't play Oracle, even though I think he's one of the better counters versus Bat Rider. He's great.
It's just that I think Oracle is like a bit more limited in what he can provide to the overall team. Like you pick Oracle specifically to counter something, whereas if you compare to Venge, yes, Venge can counter the bat, but he can be used in a lot of different drafts, like Roshan draft. You want to push, and you can also use Venge as a good babysitting hero for a carry. Like there's a lot of purposes of when you pick your Venge. Whereas for Oracle, you're picking, yes, he's a great zoner, but it's mostly for a specific spell that you want to counteract.
Should LGD still find something, though, to have to deal with this Bat Rider, or are they already banning shit
Rubik's
because...
actually not that bad.
Rubik's okay, yeah, he's got
It's an instant disable, so that's like the one thing that's really important. If you don't have counter initiation in some way, having the insta lockdown is a great.
You can also just have cores that are really resistant to Bat Rider. I think Morphling and Ember are the ones that come to mind, especially when you're talking about LGD. So they could just go for that. too. I don't really see any of those manned out.
He has good luck and happy on his shoulders. That's cute.
Oh, is that what that says?
It says good luck and happy. I mean, it's bent. It's bent now, but
You should really read his sweater. He never looks happy. He looks
I don't
so
know if it says
angry.
the same thing on the
Yeah,
other
I was looking at his facial expression, and
It's
Shiver
like,
looked
good luck and
sad.
happy. Like, where are you getting that from? He's like sullen and downtrodden.
Yeah, really
So
good.
he's really focused.
Really good observations. I can't even look at the words.
She's got phenomenal eyes. What will ROTK's hero be, though, at
Is
this
that
point?
tight? I didn't pay attention to the ban list.
Yeah, I think
It's
there
tight-
was.
It's tight in the pool.
He is.
I mean, in the ban list.
No, they didn't ban him. Back on.
So they're still tight. Like tight is pretty good versus bad. It's
yeah.
basically a very similar counter against like Void, because when Void comes in and chronos your team, you have that Ravage to counteract.
It's also hard to justify lassoing a Tide.
Yeah, because of Kraken. Yeah, you can never unless you can somehow burst him in one go with something like a Reaper. But usually you can't really do
10
that.
seconds remaining.
So that is one of the heroes that RTK still loves to play.
5 seconds.
Too much attention
remaining.
towards mid laners with either picks or bans. Do you think OG could be first to bite to secure something for Miracle here?
There's still the Invoker for him.
Yeah, that was the Invocals. Didn't we see him play like a lone druid in the mid lane earlier too? It was something a bit different for Miracle. It was very
Miracle Lone
interesting
Druid
to
was in
see.
the first game against OG. He was playing against that Jakiro mid, and it was Miracle Lone Druid mid that
Yeah.
game. And they won within like 20
Yeah,
minutes.
but basically right now what OG needs is they need a lot of bursts because it's against Enchantress. You want heroes that
Ooh.
have spell bursts.
Who's that?
They have been
LGD's
playing
turn to
pubs
pick.
here
This
in
is
China.
a
because
jungle Doom, right? Is this a jungle Doom?
I would think so.
I don't think Miracle plays bad, so I guess it has to be.
because it feels like for this team it has to be a greedy pick, right? And because the enemy team has Enchantress and they're anticipating that LGD is going to play a 4th position Enchantress because of the Rubik. So
Dire team
maybe they're
pick.
thinking we have Doom, and when the Enchantress is ganking or pressuring the lane, I come in, I take the creep, I devour the creep, and I neutralize the Enchantress pressure in the early game. And at the same time, I'm actually more greedy than Enchantress because I'm going to scale better than the Enchantress later.
Suddenly
like the way
he's got
they-
his mask
I
now.
was gonna say, I like the way it looks. Oh,
That's cool.
That was the Chinese stream,
I
right?
really,
Yeah.
I actually might prefer the
Low
Chinese
gore version.
version.
He looks like
than the
Shredder from
Yeah.
Ninja
The
Turtles.
reason I said they were playing pubs is that Synderen actually told us that he's been playing pubs and Doom is in almost
Yeah,
every single
Doom
pub
jungle,
game.
Doom
The
Doom
jungle.
China
jungle,
Doom?
get a creep,
Yeah,
level
China
2,
Doom.
come out of
China
the jungle, go creep, go gank. So it's a very aggressive Doom that the Chinese pubs play here. So perhaps some inspiration.
It's
from that.
already here since like even the last patch. Like the players just like to play like you see Ibishi, they've done this
Maybe
before.
because of the mask, they like it.
Possibly it's a really cool
5
look.
seconds
But I think
remaining.
overall the idea is just to do what Shiva said. You're there early, you control runes, you pressure,
Reserve time.
and you are there to neutralize the Enchantress. So the Razor pick here is this is a Miracle hero, or is it going to be?
Most
I think
likely
Miracle
Miracle.
plays the Razor, right? No Tail doesn't play the Razor, so it's going to be most likely a mid Razor.
Not a typical Miracle hero. Normally we see Miracle on more of those flashy kind of heroes where he can really showcase all 8,000 plus points, but Razor, I mean, maybe just more solid, can get the job done at his push.
Yeah, it's like fast tempo because
Yeah.
right now they are playing a fast tempo game, like with the Doom that's going to roam early to possibly help the Bat Rider a lot. Because I think that if you have a jungling hero and you're using the jungle and Bat can't use the jungle, you have to somehow help the Bat in some way. Because otherwise, Bat off lane doesn't get much from the lane and you can't fall back to the jungle. So somehow they need to help the Bat as well.
I look back to the side of LGD now, coming off of their Beastmaster grab. They have the map control now to work with. You know, you're on Radiant's side. OG, if they tried to throw together a bit of a Roche kind of a lineup, you now have eyes on it. And you're going to be moving into a tiny grab here, and what I like to say, a la carte tiny, as this will not be paired with the Wisp. We saw it a lot at Frankfurt, actually. And I remember even that crafty play from Secret when they had the Pylai die lane pulling Tiny. Don't imagine that's going to be the same
10
case here, but
seconds remaining.
why the Tiny here and now? It's got No Tail obviously a bit, it's something he's very familiar with playing, but why are LGD going for it now?
Tiny, like even independent of having the IO, is still a pretty fast tempo hero as well. As long as you have mana to combo and a few levels, you don't really need items. You can just get, in the initiation, you get one stun, you can kind of blow up a hero. And I think that kind of sets the pace for the fight in the early game. And I think that they know that OG is going to be looking to take early opportunities to try to get map control. And especially when you have a bat, it's really bad to lose control of like your safe lane tier 1 early on into the game because it just opens up way too many opportunities for OG. So I think they just wanted something that could fight and doesn't really, obviously having Blink is great, but you don't need it in the first
But isn't the matchup really bad against Razor?
Yeah, I think that Tiny's going to struggle a lot this game. They don't have any defensive heroes.
It depends on how they lane it.
He has a little bit of
think
attack
it's safe
speed.
lane? He might be safe lane.
5 seconds remaining.
I think regardless, it's still a bad matchup for him. Tiny is just generally pretty darn frail without the IO, especially like with a Batrider threat in the game. Like he can get bullied a lot this game. I think maybe they wanted something that can scale a little bit better, but can still siege with the Beastmaster Ench if they so desire.
It looks like LGD did not expect there to be a core coming out of. Like they were expecting Doom to be one of the 3 cores and betting out Enigma. Hard for OG.
Is it so? It's gonna be
Jungle Doom?
no Big Daddy playing Razor, Miracle Slug, or am I
Jungle
wrong?
Doom is the one that they might have copied from the Chinese pubs.
Yeah, but how about the Slug? Is that the no-tail hero? Or...
Yeah.
I guess it is. Because
Miracle
No-Tail
can play
plays
it
the
too.
Ember, so I guess he would start.
Yeah, but based on their roles, I would say, because Miracle would
5
take the hero that
seconds
needs the most farm in the team.
This is fresh for them. I mean, looking over their recent hero history, and I know they haven't picked it earlier against Archon, it's something they have not grabbed much of it. Oh, maybe a game, but through my whole list here, he is not shown. So
Yep, so it's Miracle gonna play the Slug. Because I understand the way the team runs is Miracle will always be on the hero that takes the most farm, which is in this case the Slug.
And indeed crit Doom. So
Doom,
I would
maybe
imagine we're gonna
Tiny.
see one in the jungle
Wow.
with a Talon.
And so
Something a
what
bit
do you
different
guys like the last pick viewer? Like,
It's tough versus Doom.
yeah, it's gonna be a tiny mid against Razor.
He's against Doom and Bat actually, so it's like not the greatest Weaver game. But I think they needed a hero who was mobile enough to not have to worry about Slark in the late game, because Slark kind of crushes their first 4 picks, especially with the nerf to Craggy. He's a lot better against Tiny than he used to be. So
And
I think,
Weaver's also really good at selling versus Batrider.
yeah,
I think he's one of the best.
Yeah, that's why
5
the Doom
seconds
has to be the one that is gonna decide how the early game will go for the bad. Like how much he can help him in the lane.
I still think OG have a better draft.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it sounds like from all sides here. Would both couches agree that OG might be the favorites coming into game number
Yes.
1 with that draft they've already
Yeah.
put out?
Prepare for battle.
Easier for them to execute their draft, but at the same time, LGD heroes are still really fast paced, like you guys mentioned with the blink from Tiny. So we'll see how they fare from there.
We'll see indeed. Let's go ahead and send it over to our casters right now. Gentlemen, take it away.
Oh, thank you, Coddle Guy. We're here with LGD vs. OG, game number 1 here, and the first thing I want to talk about, Blitz, is going to be the pickup. Playing the 4th position Doom, match up against, as we said, Enchantress. Being able to jungle and then potentially come in and just devour the creep, it sounds like an interesting way to be able to try and negate the Enchantress's typical advantage, because even try and aggressively ward and block out the camps, still can't keep Enchantress entirely down. Right. Sorry, everybody. Blitz's mic is on now. Anyway, Blitz, go on about the Doom.
Oh, like,
You were talking about so eloquently for a while.
we did this thing. It was like this alpha wall, and I didn't really do anything about it because Doom running at you with Earth level 1
Yeah.
feels like survive, but you just
Alright, it looks like teams are back and ready to go. Grit has already started off with an early CS, taking out the Hawk, and is going to be getting this ward up, not blocking out the camp, but he's going to be getting vision of this aggro dual lane of the Enchantress and Beastmaster. We have another pause, so plenty of time to talk about how the lanes pan out. The next one's going to be mid. Baby, playing the Tiny up against a Razor.
that is a brutal matchup for Tiny.
Oh yeah, I mean that's gonna be a terrible matchup. This is a hero this is like one of the few heroes they actually have that's gonna be potentially okay at shutting down the Slark, right? If you can get a fast blink dagger on Tiny, he can go around potentially hunting the Slark, because most of their lineup is not good with dealing with him. That's why OG were able to pick up this carry that's rather out of favor.
A lot of things that are a little bit weird, especially in conjunction with each other. By the way, I like the fact that the Doom placed that ward there. If you place the ward to block camp, every single time you do that, it's going to get dewarded. What ends up happening. So the better thing to do is you either chance a tree, sit down there, because it's much, even if it gets dewarded, okay, it's like a gamble. If you don't find it, then you're in a good position. But if it does get, if you put an obs there and it gets dewarded, terrible position.
Right.
But at least this way they can see where the Enchantress goes. Direction is more important. If they see her go to the right, then maybe they know that a smoke opportunity is going off or something like that. If they see her go to the left, they know she's going off.
And then add on to that,
30
the fact that they have a
seconds to
Doom,
battle.
they can actually counter the fact that Enchantress has a creep. No other support can really deal with that. Once the creep is gained, the advantage is taken, and Enchantress is able to bully the enemy lane. But as we're talking about, Doom can actually come in and have a big effect. That being said, it's all kind of move. We're starting off with an early counterboard from LGD that takes away that, and a 300 experience on DDC to get that fast level 2.
And right now they're running into the river.
The battle
As-
begins.
No way they can fight OG, it seems.
Oh, they're gonna get double bounty.
Yeah, that's going to be a strong start for OG. So, congrats, you got the extra 100 experience on DDC. You're going to need it because the other 200 experience from the bounty runes up by OG.
It's like he got a bounty rune. The same thing.
Yeah, just with no gold and not... So our Tiny's at an even worse advantage than he was before.
It's fine. The annoying thing about the Razor is kind of like a pillow. It just kind of like smothers you. It doesn't hurt very hard. It doesn't bother you. It's just kind of a nuisance.
I mean, I'm gonna go ahead and say that it's a pillow stuffed with a couple of razor blades, because he is he's a physical damage hero against a hero that has no armor. I you know, like some other heroes, it'd be a little bit more like a pillow, but this hero that takes a full brunt of every right click from this razor.
Nah, and he's got armor. He's made of rock.
He's made of...
How could he have 0 armor?
You're right. He could go craggy exterior level 2. We'll see if that can help. Well, the Enchantress is certainly going to help DDC push out of that top lane via just, I guess, the Doom pickup is going to be spending a lot more time harassing mid, spending perhaps more of a traditional role in that 4 position. Moon, meanwhile, at the bottom lane is actually trying to challenge MMY, see if he can get that quick first blood, but the physical damage is just not enough. Moon may be able to walk away from this one alive. He pop healing himself, gets a bit of heal, and is trying to dip into the trees, and
He's got
he is
this.
successful too. Just gets right through the line, diagonal through the trees. Weaver can't pursue, gets a TP out. That was a beautiful play by Moon.
That's huge too. He burns through 1 full support, and more than that, he gets through some of the regen of the Weaver, and it doesn't even cost him his life. He gets a free level 3 at the same time. This should have been a pretty difficult matchup. Like, the Weaver is one of the better heroes just because no kill potential from the Batrider, and always just run away and run through and harass with the Geminate attack, but for Moon to get a kill there and survive,
nice
that's pretty
pop
big.
back into the Hellbear Smasher, slowing down No-Tail. What a combination from LGD. But is it going to be enough to kill No-Tail? Doesn't look like it. He's going to be able to live with an extra 40 HP, but still, that gives maybe at least a bit of time sit in this lane and free farm, as it was going to be one of the more difficult ones, but LGD are kind of doing everything right to offset that clear advantage the Razor has.
And No-Tail's just going to suicide himself to neutrals because it is much faster. You take into account the fact that you have to kill the full. It does take extra time, and you have to walk back. It's better to just waste all your money, which you did. TP back to the mid lane, save some time, screw your score.
Speaking of that Batrider, he's going to have a Tranquil Boots. Like, he's going to get 2 of these last hits from the wave, Tranquil Boots up, and as you were talking about, this means that the lane is rather easy for Moon. Top lane, though, they do pick up the Beastmaster. The stun leading into the pound. Such a high duration of disable between those two. The Tether of Slark being one of the harder abilities for offlaners to deal with. So,
And this Beastmaster ROTK, he's going to have to primarily focus on using Sidewave, because even with the board, it's hard for him to contest into this dual lane.
another deny, obviously, from the Vengeful Spirit. Another just faster. So 0-2 right now. Everything's looking pretty good for OG. The mid lane, you know, despite everything that may be in the Enchantress we're trying to do, is still going to be perfectly acceptable for No Tail. Bottom lane, we've already talked about how it's going to go well for Moon after that first blood start, and top lane, very clearly, it's just a lane carefully around.
This kind of evenish lane matchup, by the way, Cap, really favors OG. Just because they have crit, farming the entire time through. I just think Doom is going to be more of a worthwhile 4 position in a game like this. You notice what he's going to go to,
especially since he very specifically counted. Take off untouchable. Bottom lane, Moon's doing some heavy diving now. It's actually going to be out there. I'm not sure what he was thinking there, trying to challenge Styler so much underneath the tower. But the Swarm is really one of the best abilities that Weaver has in the early game. And a lot of problems for that Batrider there.
Yeah, I think that's just unnecessarily dangerous for Moon to do. And usually he's the type of offlaner that, in my opinion, is safe, but
maybe he's finally going to go down. They start with a stun out from the Vengeful Spirit, who picked up an Invis rune, and they will be able to combo it up with crit, getting that early level of Infernal Blade to help provide an additional slow. So they pick up the kill.
Right now, doing so well around the map, they're just kind of assaulting everywhere. This is kind of what I've gotten used to seeing out of Crit and Fly as a support duo. They're a really active support. And the reason for this, I think it all revolves around these 2 players, No Tail and Miracle. They're so self-sufficient that you don't actually have to help out too much. Especially Miracle. Everybody raves about this guy and his individual ability, but what it usually leads to is him being able to just kind of take lanes for free, play the one-on-one matchups, which he's really strong at. He can do that from the safe lane or the mid lane.
LGD are trying to get so cute with their combinations. They just tried to toss Centaur into the Razor. If they'd actually hit the Centaur stun, they could have followed up with an Avalanche and then Telekinesis. Actually right-click No Tail down, offsetting that 3-man gank earlier from OG, but unfortunately it doesn't work out this time around. The Razor's just fast. 2 levels of unstable current, but they may still be able to get him. Avalanche goes out. Toss forward, Centaur stun, again, boots, plus 2 levels unstable current. Seems to be too much movement speed for the Centaur to actually hit that.
That Centaur is pretty annoying, but no kill potential in this lane for them unless No Tail really messes up. Gonna play the defensive game and keep it cap. This is 3 heroes that have spent well over a minute trying to deal with this Razor. They haven't been able to get anything done. I'd really like to see LGD actually invade this enemy safe lane. But Miracle level 6, so I guess mid is the default. As No Tail is a little bit low and he might feel cocky by the first few attempts, but everybody gonna sandwich here.
Oh no, this is gonna be real bad for LGD. They do manage to get a nice 2-man Centaur stun. Maybe he's gonna try and follow that one up. He doesn't even throw out the combination though. I think he realizes he's not gonna be able to kill anyone from OG, and he just hopes MMY was gonna be able to get out, but not the case. Still though, Moon had to use Flaming Lasso, so at least it was not the worst thing in the world for LGD. That just as easily could have been 2, maybe even 3 heroes dying there for.
I mean, I think that's pretty bad. They wasted so long trying to do the Centaur execute on that Razor, and then they even smoked for it after it failed the first time, and that smoke led to 1 person dying.
But just imagine the Doom being caught as well. That hadn't been the 2-man Centaur, or the 2-man Centaur stun that also hit the Doom, and actually allowed the Enchantress to be able to walk away. She's got no levels of untouchable. She's actually really easily to kill. Oh!
1 more time.
Alright, this time around they've got the Mud Golems. There is going to be no movement speed advantage that No Tail could possibly run away from that gank. Set up by Maybe. But again, LGD are committing so many resources to No Tail that everywhere else on the map, OG is pulling out the big dub.
It's been a really long time since I've seen an individual player hated on so much in this game. The Razor is soaking up so much of the time of everybody from... They even rotated Sylar just to make sure that it was an absolute failsafe. They didn't need him, but the fact that they TP'd in, wasted some time there, is going to open up the other lanes. And as we saw earlier today, between me and Toby, I know you were watching the game behind us, this is the guy up here, Miracle. They're just going to focus on him getting as much free farm as possible. And it feels like it's kind of geared, not even towards like a 4 protect 1, but more like we're all going to take the space on this side of the map. You kind of do whatever you want, Miracle, and you're just going to get huge and provide pressure just through being alive.
So it looks like he's going to be going hand to Midas because he's offered so much free space. And it's one of the carries that does benefit it from it rather more than most.
I think it's a pretty good option. I don't really know what else the builds are.
Yeah, I was about to say, there's nothing else that really Gloves of Haste will go into,
Armlet
right?
or Maelstrom.
I mean, any of those items on Slark, so.
Remember that one guy, Pat Soul? I used to see him go Maelstrom.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I thought it was kind of legit, but they're better items.
Just an early attack speed item. I mean, obviously, that's one of the biggest benefits of Slark with his passive is attack speed is damage.
Gives you a ton of attack speed and damage, and the chain, or the chance or whatever, procs pretty often. I think it's kind of redundant. You can just get like moon shards. And, you know, you can get a basher. There's items out there. Another 3-man smoke. This time they're gonna bring maybe along. I kind of doubt they can kill Miracle here unless he messes up on spell usage. Can't really afford to waste this gank. Like, they've wasted so many smokes.
Got a haste rune. This is definitely going to be a big advantage for maybe he's going to be able to come in. He's going to miss Miracle, unfortunately, with that avalanche. Obviously, the free kill on fly. But as he said, unless Miracle messes up somehow, he's not going to be down. And sure enough, reactions are perfectly fine.
During this time as well, Crit has rotated to the bottom lane. He's been here, put himself down here for quite some time, and you can already see the benefits of having this Doom. He's well ahead of the offlane Beastmaster in net worth alone. More than him. They haven't even taken a tower yet, so this is pure just net worth. And in mid lane, No Tail's gonna get gone on, but he does have the Invis rune. And they casually walk that off as Fly comes in, but absolutely no chance to kill him, and he's pressuring the tower at the same time though.
You gotta be a bit careful here. It looks like, oh, he knew ROTK was completely out of mana, and Enchantress isn't level 6 yet, so there's just no disable and no damage. So Moon is able to come up to the top lane, challenge this kind of, you can't really call it a push, just poke, and we'll be able to finish up his Blink Dagger. So OG very rapidly coming online. That's going to be the first of the heroes. Crit, what do you build as this Doom? Do you also go a Blink Dagger just for the opportunity to take Doom or Weaver out of the fight, or the way that like a different kind of build?
The way that we used to see it when we were playing in the Chinese subs was like pulls drums to like Vlad's and just become really tanky and become a utility hero.
The recent Chinese pubs that feature Doom have been going like blade mails.
Ooh,
drum blade mail, but
that sounds terrible.
I think this is a very different kind of.
There's like very few heroes that I'm a fan of blade mail on. I don't know if you
It's like Legion Commander, X.
The hero that you're like forced to hit. You can just be like, Doom, completely just run the other way. Top lane gank though should be successful, and ROTK, he's got to be wary of this. He's level 6, so the bounty on this is okay, and it's gonna lead to the safe lane tower down as well. Miracle's just sure that nobody's around here. This should be 100% successful.
He thought he was so safe with the Hog sitting there and everything else, but obviously the smoke and the Blink Dagger initiation just offers no option of reprisal there for the Beastmaster. Meanwhile, Styler is actually trying to push down that bottom lane, but No Tail is now going to be able to rotate over and put a stop to that one.
What do you feel like the game plan now is for LGD? So you've lost your lanes, we can say that pretty comfortably, right?
Oh yeah,
Moon was able to...
every single one of their lanes was won by OG.
For LGD, they anticipated the lanes to go better. Anytime you pick an Enchantress, this is a hero that enables your other lanes. And you picked a tiny mid, be kind of like the puck roll, but he was not nearly as successful, able to get CS. And really more than that is that you focus 3 different heroes to try to kill him. No Tail is so satisfied with what's happened so far. But one of his deaths is a deny too, so he's only died once to this gank. And he's managed to get a kill out of it too. And all this does is it enables his Slark to get further and further ahead. And if you look at LGD's lineup, I don't think they have the best ways to deal with this hero. Tiny is going to have this short window of time before Slark gets statted up, but after that, he's just going to Dark Pact everything.
So what do you do next as LGD? Well, obviously the Blink Dagger is going to be the key pickup for LGD in trying to change the pace of this game. I feel like they almost need to like 4-man around maybe. I actually don't think he has enough damage. His combo is not going to be enough to kill Doom. I don't think it's enough to kill Slark, Bat Rider, Razor, definitely not. Maybe the Vengeful Spirit. It's the only hero you can actually one-shot. So I feel like they actually have to go behind this Tiny and hope that they can get some critical pickoffs.
I think going for a 4-man is a little bit ambitious. Going for a 3-man, show 2 of the lanes is a little bit better. The problem though is that the weak getting far behind right now. Like Styler's going to have a Linken's eventually, but I think the timing for it is going to be later than they expect. But maybe he's just going to blink up and miss. He should know that there's somebody up there. Out. But Miracle's already on the other side. He understands in this game, by the way, that JO don't stay in your safe lane.
Yep.
When everybody else is missing off the map. The most dangerous plot that you can be on the map.
To be fair, he also is a good hero to farm jungle. The Slark is a lot more capable than, what was it, Spectre?
Yeah.
Or, no, Phantom Monster.
Hey, it's just hard to gank him because it's a nighttime Slark too.
Yeah.
He's got vision coming in. Even if you smoke, if Miracle plays a reactionary Dota, he should be okay because MMY won't ever really be in time.
I didn't actually expect this one out of OG given some of their heroes. They're going to go straight into the Roshan pit and sneak this one while LGD are spending so much time in the dire jungle. This is like such a clear read by OG of what LGD is trying to do right now. They probably figured the Link Dagger is coming up. They clearly seem to know that this is going to be some sort of rotation in the jungle and are going to be able to counter that. Not only just counter it and stop their few openings to be able to gain some control in this game, but they're actually going to make it so much harder now for LGD to do.
What's really cool about that too is that his lineup, you don't instantly look at that and what that thought is. The initiation goes through.
Yeah, Moon already got the jump on him, maybe being able to control up that combo hero. He turns around and gets off the avalanche, but it looks like the fight is already being won by OG entirely. They've got 2 heroes down. Siler's forced to pop the ultimate. He just barely doesn't get hit by that pounce, which may allow him to survive. Miracle, 1 pounce up in 1 second, but he's not going to be there in time. Instead, No-Tail will run down some of the easier heroes. MMY, nothing he can do there, and the sticky napalm is slowing down RTK as well. That's going to be 4 heroes down from LGD, and Siler has no hope of being able to get a turnaround kill at all.
Yeah.
And Shukuchi through No-Tail maybe, but there's 3 heroes of OG looking healthy, can't fight.
He almost died there too. Miracle just barely missed that pounce. If he hits that, that's 4-man, that's a 5-man life. The Enchantress actually died so early in the fight, but she's such a low level, she's instantly up again, and OG, they've taken so much control, but as I was saying, that kind of lineup, you look at it, and that's on the lineup you instantly think will go for a sneak Roshan. Yeah. But because of the pack leader aura that the Doom has, they were able to complete it so fast.
Yeah, their natural tankiness, the pack leader aura, and then the vengeful spirit as well with the maxed out wave of terror. I've actually heard a couple different things on this. There seems to be some people who are actually favoring vengeance aura a lot more over wave of terror. What are your thoughts on the difference? Because wave of terror does not scale tremendous. 1 armor point and 20 points of damage per level.
I think the wave of terror, it's just you can go for the Roshan a lot earlier. You have physical damage dealers with the Razor and the Slark already. It's not as necessary for them to have the Vengeance aura because you're almost never going to be near them anyways. Like they're going to play so much faster than you. You just get the wave of terror off on a few heroes. It lasts for 15 seconds. Things down, but LGD kind of in dire straits right now because the Weaver getting a Lincoln's alone cap isn't enough for them to win the game. That's the sad part. Usually when your carry gets a first item, that's kind of the go time, but point of the Weaver getting that item. If he's not going to be able to tank, he's going to be playing largely on the defensive.
It will be way more effective against the Doom than it ever was before, as we've talked about in some of our broadcasts. This is part of the reason that Doom isn't picked. The change to Infernal Blade means that you no longer have a spell to actually remove Lincolns in order for you to go for a 1-2 punch, remove Lincolns with what was level death, and then throw down your ultimate. No longer the case, but I'm sure that OG is not going to be worried about that. That's just a minor stopper in their plan. They have so many other heroes.
They're just going to kill everybody else.
Yeah, exactly.
And you know that that's a single core Weaver at top Siler. Before he gets his Lincolns, he's going to get jumped on by 3. Doom goes down 2. He's going to get that one as Doom gets last hit, but that is such a farmed Bat Rider. It's a blink, 4-staff. He can afford a gem anytime soon too. And once you have that, all the map control goes away. LGD, they're running a single core, make no mistake about it. Like, the Tiny is an enabler. He's not really a true 1 or 2 position because of that Blink Dagger. He's even going to go for the 4-staff next. Like, this guy has to accomplish something.
Yeah, this kind of Tiny has to actually do so well in that 15 to 25 minute marker to turn into another kind of carry. LGD are going to try and get into an early fight here up against Miracle. They're going to be able to almost pop him, but almost is not good enough. Miracle pops the ultimate, starts healing himself up. The rest of OG surge forward. They're going to look for the kill on maybe first. No-Tail actually takes out the Rubik, turns toward DDC. That's going to be a harder hero to kill. Maybe meanwhile targeted by Moon and Fly is going to be going down. No-Tail not quite able to pick up the kill. Miracle looks towards DDC. They don't have a stun, as both stun from Vengeful Spirit wasn't in range and the swap was already being so. Still though, 2 hero kills. Considering that was another LGD smoke initiation, it just seems like LGD have no hold on this game whatsoever, and that's not really going to change unless OG makes some serious mistakes.
If I'm correct too, they've used all their smokes, and it looks like it. And that's kind of your avenue of getting back into the game, especially with this tiny. When you don't have any map control, I'd really like to see OG just pick up the early control, pick up a gem, deward like crazy, get some vision. It seems that Moon just kind of favors this Aether lens though, before he gets it. Maybe he doesn't even feel like it's altogether that necessary because they're so far ahead in the game right now.
Yeah.
Just continue to scale up and up.
The gem would be so powerful because that's really if you can get both the gem and aggressive vision up, the only way that LG really surprises you at that point in time is with smokes, right? Got done talking, there are none.
I think it's okay anyways though, because you have a Slark, he's gonna find out where things are with his Shadow Dance, and sentries enough are alone. Like I just expect him to just have a ton of sentries. Vengeful Spirit has 2 already. Miracle can just tell his team, okay, I've been spotted here. They're a pretty common ward spots for Radiant, especially when you're behind. Like this one over here, probably the most common, right?
Yeah. Now, this is really like vacation time for OG. They already did all the hard work, right, in the first 20 minutes of this game. They don't have the kind of lineup that is like full speed and, 20 minutes, let's do Roshan, let's, take tier 2 towers, tier 3s, let's go high ground. This isn't that kind of lineup. OG are going to be spending probably the next 5 to 10 minutes a little bit more farm, get the Scotty on Slark. I mean, at the very least on him. Maybe some of the rest of OG can play more aggressive, but this is definitely not, I think, a lineup that can go high ground anytime soon, despite the huge leads they have.
The other thing about OG too is that they still have the smoke remaining, so they can still make one more aggressive move into LGD's jungle, get even more control, and can play even more defensively. His crit does go for that build, by the way. He drops in Vlad's fairly tank up, become an enabler for the rest of your team. His right-click damage is not bad though, 170. He's got the pack leader.
Where would you go as a kind of mid-game? Dagger eventually, or what about Ags? Is that no longer a thing? I feel like I've heard that Ags just isn't the item anymore on Doom.
I don't think it has been for quite a while.
Yeah.
It used to be that if I saw in a pub a Doom go Ags first item, I was like, I won, like 100%. That guy's not getting a Shadow Blade or a Blink. Do that, the game pretty much over. I don't know if you could really go for a Shadow Blade, but even going for a Blink is fine.
Yeah, Blink into Shivas or something like that.
Yeah, you don't even necessarily have to Doom the Weaver because of the way that LGD's lineup works. They have 1 core. Like, what are they going to do? Doom may be in the game over anyways.
Yeah.
He's your primary damage dealer. The Weaver isn't so scary. And notice because LGD don't have smoke, they're holed up in their base. They're just watching each other farm, and this is the easiest way to get far behind. And that's why OG is slowing down the pace of the game right now, because they realize everybody from LGD is 5-manning. So let's just hit and run them, make them scared, but don't do anything.
So you're kind of in panic mode. It's LGD at this point. What do you do? Because there are, we've actually gone over so many of the avenues of ways forward, essentially, for LGD that are not available. You don't have any good map control, you don't have any smokes, you don't really have the kind of heroes to make plays right now. What do you actually do? You continue to try and 5-man? Do you spread yourself really, really far and just like try and farm really efficiently and hope you're able to catch up through that? What's the play?
Someone checks online how to start a small fire.
Okay.
And just like throw that into OG Rogue. Right now,
okay.
they have, what are they supposed to do? They have 1 core. We got this Weaver guy who has a Lincolns and deals no damage to anybody. They're just gonna laugh at him as everybody from OG is so tanky. Or I put it in air quotes, Venge is Urn and a wand. I don't even know what crit's supposed to be.
Yeah, I was about to say the real quote-unquote support. The big question mark there is, what the hell is Doom then? He's the 4th carry of OG at this point.
He's actually so far right now. He's like 400 gold behind the Tiny.
He's just casually rocking around with a plate mail now. He's impossible to kill.
The way that you're supposed to get back into these games when you're super far behind is you get these high net worth kills individual heroes. But if everybody from OG is so damn hard to kill, and Slark is just... Who does he have? 1,000 health. LGD do 2,000 damage before Venge swaps? That's the question.
Or even can they disable the Slark and do 2,000 damage before you can Shadow Dance?
He would have to mess up so much.
No Tail's gonna catch up to him. Maybe is definitely dead.
God, everybody is so tank target kill. Yeah. Everybody is single target too, so this Razor becomes even better.
So you need to go for these high priority kills, but you don't have the vision to actually know whether or not these heroes, if you see them on the map, are alone or not. You don't have the map control to really make these kind of guesses because nobody's showing up in top lane right now from OG, but you can clearly see that that doesn't mean much. The heroes kind of all spread over. They've got top, mid, bottom lane.
This assault from OG. This is so cool to watch.
Yeah, I love
it everywhere.
Yeah, they're actually letting Sylar take this tier 2, but they're keeping the wave there. They're locking it in. So Sylar won't actually have a creep wave to go high ground.
This is how far ahead OG is, that they can show 3 heroes like this, and 2 of their main cores in the mid lane, and 2 off cores in the bottom lane, and they can't respond to either of them. How many situations have you seen? In Dota, whenever you're behind and you have a numbers advantage, you immediately take that fight because you're never going to get better. Yep. LGD thinks that even that is such a low percentage that they won't take it.
So now they're just letting OG essentially draw out the game because they're choosing not to try and fight it. Is there something that's like, what is the next moment that changes for LGD? Is there an item pickup? Is there a certain level that will make LGD feel more comfortable with taking a fight?
I know it's our job to be super positive and okay, this
no,
team
no. I would say we definitely need to lay it out, but we still have to find some hope, some glimmer of light. We will call it a glimmer. Right? That's what it is. It is like tiniest, faintest bit of light. Maybe you're just seeing things.
I feel like I'm just not a good enough player to understand how LGD is supposed to go. Got a level 8 Enchantress, a level 7 Rubik, 24 minutes into the game, and you're level 7 and level 8 respectively, against a Slark that has 1100 gold, a Blink Dagger, and a Scotty.
So you're saying right now that us as casters downstairs, 1 level during this pause, bring all of the greatest minds of Dota 2 that are currently down there scrimming, practicing, doing whatever, assemble, the best captains and good and analytical type players, bring them all into this room with us and have them theory craft a way out of this for LGD.
Because LGD, I think there was a time period like 10-15 minutes ago where maybe they could have taken more chances and just used the Beastmaster Huck better. I will say that. I think they didn't really use the Beastmaster Huck to set up for the Tiny. They were over-reliant on the early game smokes that just weren't working out. How many times did they try to smoke mid on No Tail?
Yeah.
You can't waste it like that. Those have to be guaranteed. People don't understand. Those aren't casual ones, because how badly do you think LGD wish they had at least one of those smokes right now? Now they have to fight into this Roche fight where they're going to get spotted 100%.
Yeah.
And they're just like, well, if we give you Roche, the game's over. If we take Roche fight, we have no vision, and we're going to come at you slowly with our 2 supports that don't do anything. And
OG have like a 95% chance to be able to win this Roshan fight. But even then, they could just back out, farm up a little bit more, and give themselves even more, like, take away another 4% from that margin of error and make it a 99% chance to win.
I think the best way to look at it from a viewing perspective, if you think a caster is being biased or lying to you or something like that, or trying to just keep the game hype up, look at the late game possibilities. Like, does Weaver out carry those 3 cores? Let's say 4 cores. Like, Crit's not a support. I don't even know what Crit's become.
It has been else. Alright, so LGD to go for a smoke play here. They've got the blink up the side. If they can jump it at the right time, he's actually just going to force that the hell out of there. Sylar's going to try and go for the ages, but Miracle's actually managed to take it off. Sylar pops his ultimate, gets the hell out of there. MMY is already down, and it looks like maybe he's going to go for a fly, but Sylar has been doomed up, and he should be run down. RTK is actually body blocking up pretty decently, but Sylar's still going to be caught up by Miracle. Maybe is trying to TP out, but of course all of his allies on the left-hand side of the jungle are all dying. RTK is going to be not the last one down. DDC will still be caught by the sticky napalm. Miracle will eventually get his claws into that poor sweet tail.
Oh, Moon! Like, even Moon knows how.
Oh, Moon!
You know what that is? That's the get out of my game.
Yep.
That's actually the game.
Why have you not GG yet?
It's like, what are you guys doing? That's the.
Stop wasting my time.
I don't even think that's DM, honestly.
I mean, if that breaks LGD's spirit.
Yeah,
good
power to you. If you can do that and it doesn't even matter, then LGD are just that far behind. my moon. That was so funny.
And we hyped it up at the Frankfurt Major, so
It's a
I guess we're
legitimate
seeing
part of
it
the
in
game.
Shanghai.
The risk reward is so often. Like, you slightly mess with somebody's mentality, but you might lose 2,000 gold in an instant.
Do you think Swindle ever sees these plays just like shaking his head, like, no guys, it's not worth it?
You know what I like about Swindle is he is willing to take it just as much as he's willing to give it. Like, he's down to just...
If that was another player, I wouldn't have brought that up.
Oh, Miracle, he's just gonna blow up MMY. Oh god, he attacks so fast.
RTK, he like starts through the Primal Roar, but Miracle, top the ultimate, he's just gonna be able to take him out anyway. The Primal Roar goes out, but of course, got this great ability card, Dark Pack. They're gonna lose life number 1 here on the Slug, but gonna come right back. This time around, he's gonna have allies helping him out. Miracle drops down to about half HP, almost dies, but will be able to get the pounce away. Puts himself in the trees and will start healing up. Meanwhile, Siler's actually being run down by No-Tail. Knows he can't kill a Weaver as Shikuchi's coming back up. So instead, during that BKB time, he very wisely takes the 400 gold from the Necronomicon minion instead.
I thought for a second he was dead because the Necro minions actually wreck you. You never start to realize how much mana they're draining until it's too late. And he had used his pounce already on the Tiny. So he's gonna die there for a second, but barely gets out, and OG are just gonna take this top tier 2 tower. They're so confident at this point. They know they have everything necessary. They've got better late game. Miracle stacks the gills. No-Tail's in a similar position.
Maybe aren't giving up just yet. They're actually trying to get some back onto No-Tail. Bring him decently low, but Fly hit swap. Miracle puts himself pretty far forward until he draws the aggro and then bounces. Fly gets the force staff over the cliff, but is still going to be caught. LGD finally gets themselves a kill. Not a high profile, high net worth hero kill, but a kill nonetheless.
Right now, you take whatever you can get. Even a kill, that actually gives them more gold. Even though they lost like the enchantment fight back. Overall, that game was in their favor just because OG is so far ahead right now. But no disrespect to LGD, you know, I wasn't making fun of them or anything. It's more just OG have just played this game so well. Like, everybody created space on the map for each other. There was a time period where you saw 2 people top, 2 people mid, 2 people or 1 person bottom, farming out everywhere and hemming in. And because they were spread out in this way, LGD had no idea what they were supposed to do. We start to go to one area, does OG just back up and consolidate their forces into another? Like, just dominant.
You talked about early on that you felt like LGD did mess up certain things, execution, but what percentage would you really lay this game on? Would you say that it was more of the draft or more of the execution? I personally am lying more in the draft pool. It felt that the Tiny had to have a good time in order to really start things out good for LGD, and he was matched up against a Razor 1v1 mid.
His blink dagger timing, if you remember correctly, wasn't even that bad.
No, they played. I mean, they did like all these cutesy things, like every single cutesy thing in the book of Dota. They did in that mid lane in order to help maybe succeed, and it still wasn't enough to win the lane. Maybe it's going to be initiated on by Moon. Gets the grab. They've already taken out MMY. Gem is dropped, and well, G and even more bounty.
If they hadn't focused so much on No-Tail and had just kind of spread out a little bit, safe lane. I don't know why MMY just decided to give up on the bottom lane and was like, I'm gonna let that Rider do whatever he wants. He killed me once, he won the duel, and decided he was gonna focus all of his energies mid. But that's on No-Tail too. Like, No-Tail positions himself beautifully. He never let himself get tilted. He didn't really even have that much help mid. He just played safe and always ran to the right of his tower. That's important. He didn't play on the left side where smoke around him. He always played on the right side and down, and they just got nothing out of it. What were they going to do though? They can't. Miracle got 6 so quickly because they were able to kill the Beastmaster, so he wasn't an option, and at that point Crit was open. So the only options that you have are either No-Tail or this Batrider. But is it worth it to smoke 3 heroes and your mid hero down for a Batrider? No.
Yeah. And to build on that, there is no saving grace for No-Tail, right? Like, it's so critical that he does play the position game correctly, because no one's going to come save him from OG with a jungling Doom and Fly, who's obviously stuck up at the top lane dealing with the Beastmaster. Moon finds his initiation once again onto maybe combination with a Centaur stun, follow up stun from Fly as well. They're chain stunning him pretty well, but they're actually leaving him for dead because they want to be able to chase down Sylar first. Good Shiva's entry as Crit comes into the pool. Maybe he got doomed up, but doesn't really stop him. Crit's perfectly healthy and maybe can't finish anybody off, so the buyback is worthless, and LGD will call it The end score being 6-28 by 31.5 minutes in.
That's almost a kill in it for OG. They were completely on point here. I think it was, though, a combination of the draft. They had nobody to kill like I outlined, but at the same time, they definitely could have used their time a lot better.
Absolutely, so OG looking very strong in their group as they pretty much dismantle LGD in this game one of the